Welcome to chapter 28 of the book of Numbers, the law regarding offerings and sacrifices. A lot of people think these are really boring, going through all these sacrifices and offerings. They want to get into the New Testament, listen to Jesus, and think this has nothing to do with the New Testament, but actually it's quite a bit the opposite. To really understand the New Testament, I believe, is imperative to understand these things in the Old Testament. Without understanding these, we don't understand the things of Christ as well. By going through these things, we see more about Him and ourselves in Him, especially when we start studying the individual words rather than just look at the whole thing and say, this is just all offerings. Now I'll show you why I believe this is the case. Hopefully the Lord will show you why this is the case. And the Lord spoke, Kyrios spoke to Moses, Moisin, saying, again, the same way he starts in so many places, give charge to the sons of Israel, and again in the imperative, he tells them to do something, to tell them, now back to these laws. And you shall say to them, my gifts, Dora is a gift. We have the name, you don't hear it anymore, but a woman's name was Dora, and it meant a gift. And it was a Corban offering, so pretty much all the offerings to put together under this word. My presence, my gifts, my presence, my yield offerings, for a scent of pleasant aroma you shall observe to bring near to me in my holidays. So the things that we are to bring to God, our gifts and our presence, to be a scent of pleasant aroma. Well, as Christians, we can say, well, how can we do that? We don't have any sacrifices or anything like that, and we don't have any holidays for sacrificing, and we don't do that. But in 2 Corinthians 2:15, 16, it says, Paul says, for of Christ we are a pleasant aroma offering to God among the ones being delivered, us listening, and among the ones perishing. To some a scent of death to death, the ones perishing, but to some a scent of life to life. So we are a scent of pleasant aroma to God, the ones that are believing. And then Ephesians 5:2 expands on that, and it says, and walk, Paul says, and walk in love, as also the Christ loved us and delivered himself up for us as an offering and sacrifice to God for a scent of pleasant aroma. Ephesians 5:2. So Jesus Christ is the scent of pleasant aroma. It says it right there. So when we observe Jesus Christ, then we are offering the same thing that these people were doing here, and we can do it without going through the priesthood, and we can offer a scent of pleasant aroma, I believe, in our belief in Jesus Christ. And he continues, and you shall say to them, these are the yield offerings, and this doesn't appear in the New Testament, which you shall lead to the Lord. He lambs of a year old, unblemished. So now, again, we were talking earlier about being unblemished, and Christ was unblemished. He didn't have sin. So to the day for a whole burnt offering perpetually. Now, the whole burnt offering only appears 2 times in the New Testament. 3 times, twice in Hebrews and once in Mark 12:33. And about the whole burnt offering, it says, and to love him from out of the entire heart, and from out of the entire understanding, and from out of the entire soul, and from out of the entire strength, And to love the neighbor as himself is more than all the whole burnt offerings and the sacrifice offerings. And that's Mark 12:33, words of Jesus. So we do not offer up whole burnt offerings, but God wants all these things. He wants our understanding, again, our heart. The heart is our feelings for Him and for loving other people. It's a heart condition that we have. And our understanding, we think about it. We have to understand things. We read the Word and we try to figure out what this is all about and what it's saying. Our soul, our life, our experience of everyday walking through life is a whole burnt offering. And our strength. So we do all of everything for Christ. We give Him the 100%, and we're tired. We just don't give up, and we just keep on doing things that He leads us to do for Him, and to love Him as oneself or Himself, and I love myself. And so we need to love Him as much as we love ourselves. And Jesus says that's more than the whole burnt offerings. And we do this perpetually every day. So basically, we can do this offering here. We should be doing it. And then he continues, the one lamb you shall offer do, actually is the 4160, or make do in the morning. So I have offer, as I mentioned, this 4160 is to do, but generally it changes depending on the context. And here it is, you don't do a lamb, you offer the lamb. And the second lamb you shall offer towards Asperin, with the Vesper service, evening service, Deuteronomy 2nd, Deuteronomy. And you shall offer the decaton, decade, tenth of the ephah of fine flour for a sacrifice offering being prepared in olive oil, the fourth part of a hind. Now, all these sacrifice offerings are all dependent on slaying an animal, putting it to death, as Jesus was slain, put to death, but of course arose again. So all of these things are fulfilled with Jesus Christ as being the offering of all offerings. It is a whole perpetual burnt offering taking place in Mount Sinai, where they were, for a scent of pleasant aroma to the Lord. Again, we are the scent, a pleasant aroma. And its libation, that is a drink offering, the fourth part of the hin to the one lamb. And in the holy place you shall offer a libation of liquor to the Lord. Now I saw the species, and I was like, what is that? I don't remember that word. What kind of offering is that? Because it says you shall offer, and normally it was due 4360? 4160. I think I would remember it after all these years. But you shall offer. Now, I looked it up and I remembered now. This has to do with offering a liquor, a libation, a liquid. And this is the action of offering a liquid, but it has the liquid in a separate word, the libation here. So you should offer a liquid libation of liquor. Maybe you could do that to the Lord. And the second lamb you shall offer towards evening according to its sacrifice offering. And as its libation you shall offer it for a scent of pleasant aroma to the Lord. And in the day of the Sabbaths you shall lead forward 2 lambs of a year old, unblemished, and 2 tenths of fine flour, being prepared in olive oil for a sacrifice offering, and its libation. Now these sacrifices, in Romans 12:1, we think, well, how are we doing these sacrifices? Sacrifice offering, and that's another one. But in Romans 12:1, Paul says, "Then I exhort you, brothers, by the compassions of God, to present your bodies living sacrifices." Right here, a living sacrifice, holy, that is separated for Christ, and well-pleasing to God, doing the things that Christ would want. He says that's the rational service of yours. So we are to be, this is our sacrifice, as our giving up our bodies, to present our bodies as living sacrifices, separated, holy, basically, and well-pleasing. So this is what we do instead of offering the animal. And then this is the whole burnt offering of the Sabbaths on the Sabbaths, besides the continual whole burnt offering and its libation. And in the new moons you shall lead a whole burnt offering to the Lord, 2 calves from out of the oxen, draft animals, and 1 ram, 7 unblemished lambs of a year old, and 3 decayed tenths of fine flour, being prepared in eleo. We have oleo, margarine. They used to call it oleo margarine. For the 1 calf, and theo, 2 tenths decata of fine flours, being prepared in eleo, for the 1 ram, and a tenth of fine flour, being prepared in olive oil, for the 1 lamb, a sacrifice sent a pleasant aroma, a yield offering to the Lord. Again, this was not in the New Testament. To their libation, the liquor, liquid, it will be the half of the hin of wine, basically, for the 1 calf. And I added the wine there. And the third of the hin of wine will be, unless it was some other kind of liquor, will be for the 1 ram, and the fourth of the hin now see, there it is, of wine. Enu. We have vinu for wine. Enu will be for the lamb. This is the whole burnt offering, month by month, throughout the months of the year. And a young he-goat from the goats, 1 for a sin offering to the Lord. So what is the sin offering in the New Testament? Well, it's 2 Corinthians 5:21 tells us that for the one not knowing sin, that is Jesus, he made a sin offering for us, that we should be righteousness of God in him. So Christ became the sin offering. He was slain, but his righteousness, being slain and being acceptable to God for our belief, I believe, is what he's talking about. We become righteousness of God in him. We become as the goats and these animals that are slain for the sin offering. They are accepted by God for the people. Jesus is slain for us. See, all this is just really important to know. If you didn't know all these things, you just wouldn't understand a lot of the things in the New Testament. It's imperative to have an Apostolic Bible with the Greek Old and New Testament. I just can't imagine not having it. It's just a fantastic study tool, and I get people writing me saying it's just the greatest study tool there is, and it is. There's nothing like it. I'm not bragging because Lord had me to translate it, but the result is what it is. And then besides the continual whole burnt offering, you shall offer in its libation. So that whole burnt offering is us, our sanctification. And in the first month, the 14th day of the month, it is a Passover to the Lord. And in the 15th day of the month, this is a holiday, 7 days you shall eat unleavened breads. And the first day will be a holy summoning to you. All work which is servile you shall not do. So they're not to work on these periods. And you shall bring whole burnt offerings. Now, how does that affect us? The servile work you shall not do. Well, I believe the 7th day is a day of rest. I try to rest on the 7th day. which is today, but I had to do a video. I just love doing them, and I just felt like I should do this. But I didn't do very much work today. Well, I did a little bit, took some, but it says in the Bible on the seventh day, if you go out and feed the animals and so forth. Well, I went out and pulled weeds and transplanted some geraniums. I felt like they needed it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing very well, and cleaned them up, sort of like, I think that's okay. And so I was worrying about somebody coming by and seeing me working on the seventh, on a Sunday, and saying something to me like, "Brother, what are you doing working on the Sunday?" And of course, my answer to them generally is that I'm a Six-Day Adventist, and they say, "Well, what's a Six-Day Adventist?" And I say, "Well, I believe on resting for 6 days and working on the seventh." And so, basically, I don't really do that, but that's what I tell them. They get a little chuckle out of that. "And you shall bring whole burnt offerings, a yield offering to the Lord, 2 calves from out of the oxen, the draft animals." Now, calves are the small ones from the oxen. "1 ram, 7 lambs of a year old, they shall be unblemished to you. And their sacrifice offering shall be fine flour, being prepared in olive oil, 3/10 for the 1 calf and 2/10 for the 1 ram. And you shall offer," now here we got decaton, the same exact word. But now, "you shall offer a tenth. You shall tithe." Maybe that's not the right word, because to tithe is a verb, and it's not really a verb. Or you could say a tithe, so it would be okay. So I put tithe when these two together, for the 1 lamb to the 7 lambs, and a young he-goat from the goats, 1 for a sin offering to atone for you. Now, Jesus is the atonement. We don't use these priests to atone for us. "Besides the continual whole burnt offering of the early morning, which is a perpetual whole burnt offering. These, according to these manners, you shall offer per day for the 7 days as a gift yield offering, a thoron, a Corban offering, a general offering or gift, a yield offering, scent of pleasant aroma to the Lord. With the continual whole burnt offering, you shall offer its libation and the liquor or wine. And the seventh day will be a holy calling to you. All servile work you shall not do in it. And the day of the new produce, whenever you should bring a new produce to the Lord of the periods of sevens, sacrifice, it will be a holy summoning to you. All servile work you shall not do." And that is another holiday of this. Maybe it's Pentecost, because it's a period of sevens. "And you shall bring whole burnt offerings for a scent of pleasant aroma to the Lord. 2 calves from out of the oxen, 1 ram, 7 lambs of a year old unblemished. Their sacrifice offering shall be of fine flour, being prepared in olive oil, and 3/10 for the 1 calf and 2/10 for the 1 ram, 10th tithe to the 10th tithe to the 1 lamb, to the 7 lambs, and 1 young he-goat from the goats for a sin offering to atone for you, besides the continual whole burnt offering and their sacrifice offering you shall offer to me. They shall be unblemished to you, which Christ was, and with their libations." Chapter 29, the next video seminar, a holy summoning in the 7th month. We will find out what that is all about in our next video seminar. Hope you'll continue with us. Till then, God bless.